Now y'all here listen up. I'm getting awfully tired of repeating myself. I ain't gonna say this again. I know fucking fascists love repeating themselves. And everybody's all on fucking message. And the left doesn't have anything to do with that. They're all fucking scattered around, chasing their tails, doing who knows what. You know, being leftists and liberals. Because that is bullshit that Walmart's gonna own TikTok. Get the fuck out of here. Walmart fucking sucks because BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street suck, okay? They own the banks and they're like, it's an investment firm. It's a fucking, they own like a big chunk of a lot of our shit, okay? And it kind of falls in line with the whole 7 Mountain mandate with the fucking bullshit right-wing zealots with the Alliance Defending Freedom Heritage Foundation and with, focus on the family bullshit. And I'm sorry, this is fucking horse shit. Like, I'm so sick of this boomer fucking corporate nightmare. Like, I don't want any of it. I don't subscribe to any of it. I never really have. I tried to survive in it, but like, it's fucking a cesspool of just fucking apparently immature, petulant children who didn't have enough experiences to get past their fucking insecurities and also their fucking bigotry. Like, they don't even know that they don't know. I'm so sick of this shit. But the fucking right wing and MAGA Republicans are stochastic terrorists. And I ain't gonna fucking say this again. MAGA Republicans have set us up for the biggest grift known to mankind. Like, it's bigger than any Ponzi scheme we've ever seen, in my opinion. Now, Trump has colluded with a lot of very powerful people. He can't do any of this shit himself. Obviously, people are pulling a lot of strings. For one, I ain't gonna be doing business with Chubb in my lifetime. Just won't be happening. For them to bail out, to have him go through underwriting being a rapist, and he's gonna be convicted felon for fraud, and he tried to take over our government. Like, there's no fucking way an insurance company would allow that shit. Like, whenever I ask banks or insurance companies for anything, they're like, oh, you have this pending, or you had this, like, fuck that. And this leads me to this greater complex that basically is like a multinational corporation complex that has a global network. And I think all the despots and the authoritarians around the world kind of gathered together and said, hey, we're gonna fucking take this bitch. And I think MAGA and the Republicans and some of our, pragmatist corporations here in the United States that have ties elsewhere, I think they listened. They're like, oh yeah, tell us more. And I think the right wing has always been trying to establish a Christian theocracy dominance over our political environment, for decades, as we all know, with, 7 Mountain Mandate and of course Project 2025, but it's morphed into this bigger deal. It's like these zealots have teamed up with the zealot bigots and the faux zealot bigots and these multinational corporations that want to take over the world. And I don't think I'm being anti-Semitic when I'm saying that somebody needs to raise an eyebrow to the fact that BlackRock, State Street, Vanguard, companies of that ilk, particularly those three, they've bought up a lot of private property for single family households here in Texas. They're setting us up for an even bigger grift than what's already happened. And, all these conglomerations and monopolies have always been a problem. We've always had to bust them up. So it's time, all these companies, I used to have a pick of 5, and then it went down to 3. Now those last 2 or 3 are, getting down to 1 basically. And, we're getting charged twice for a less amount. And it's all because these guys have so much control, and they gained control in 2008 from George W. Bush, and Barack Obama gave the keys to our economy over to BlackRock and these types of companies. And they're the ones that caused like the deficit spending and the fraud and the waste and the abuse. And so once these guys got in power, that's when I feel like everything is kind of changed. And everybody's like, oh yeah, the president, Oval Office doesn't mean shit because other people hold the power. I think the office of the president does hold a lot of power when abused. Biden's not abusing it, so seemingly he doesn't have a lot of power, but he's making a lot of things happen. When we saw Trump was in office, that guy is a fucking maniac, and he can absolutely abuse the power of the Oval Office. So don't let that fool you. And I think Trump has colluded with Russia, obviously, and Russia has these assets through formerly KGB, the FSB, that they've basically been able to manipulate people's minds on both the left and the right since 2015 and long before. And people in neighboring countries over there, they've seen it and watched it in terror their whole lives, but it's only kind of hit the forefront of everything in the 2016 in 2015 when they got Trump elected. But he's not a good businessman. We do need a good businessman for the office, but he's not a good businessman. He's a fucking grifter. So my point is that, so you got Putin and these other autocrats around the world wanting to take over the world, and they think that they are entitled to it. And then we have the right wing, extreme right wing, the zealots, MAGA, right wing Republicans. They want to take over the country with a fascist theocracy because they know they can't get the vote with a democratic vote anymore. So we got those guys kind of teaming up with these autocrats around the world, and then we have these multinational corporations that have ties to all these countries, and they are embedded into the military industrial complexes, in the prison industrial complex. They're in all complexes, and they want a piece of it too. And it's not just American owned, it's multinational corporations. And so it's like they're kind of teaming up against the idea of countries, in my opinion, and they just want to fucking team up with like the 5 biggest superpowers and then just eat everything, it seems like. And that's what kind of BlackRock is doing in State Street and Vanguard. I don't think it's anti-Semitic at all to call it out. They bought pretty much all of Walmart. And since then, we've seen Walmart have some pretty unethical business dealings. It may not be illegal, but it's certainly unethical. And I know the quality of Walmart in general, wasn't really all that great, but the standards have just plummeted since Sam died and State Street bought it and the family took over, and Vanguard and BlackRock. But now it's interesting to see that Walmart is one of the biggest proposed purchasers of TikTok when it breaks up, and the federal government agreed. I think this is Putin's FSB dealings. He was able to manipulate the situation where he convinced both sides, Democrats and right wing, to vote unanimously to get TikTok out. If you notice, MAGA realized, oh shit, like in Egypt, they used Twitter to run a successful revolution. They saw the numbers not going in their way. They see TikTok is just wildly performing, so much better than all these other apps and sites and everything. And they're like, fuck, we can't control it. So we just got to fucking take it down. And so they used the FSB network to basically manipulate the narrative and then convince both Republican and Democrats that it is this threat, and that it needs to be, basically taken by the federal government, or disbanded. And what I think they've done is they've set it up. So MAGA set up the HQ in California to be moved to Texas. That's when the right-wing moderation kind of took a handle, and Wagner Group with Russia was certainly involved with all this, because Trump and MAGA people aren't smart enough for this shit. So they basically wormed their way into Oracle HQ, got the TikTok moderation to be altered in the favor of MAGA Republicans, and then in the process, the long game was to basically make it illegal or to bust it up and sell it to American interest companies that can control it even more. But they already have control in the Oracle headquarters in Austin. MAGA already saw to it that happened. Like you notice a bunch of people got banned and moderation changed in the past several months. They've already used their influences. You know how the MAGA people are always like, the deep state's against you. This is the deep state operating right in front of our fucking faces. And it's BlackRock, State Street, Vanguard, MAGA, and then of course Alliance Defending Freedom. That's the law firm, that's the right-wing zealots that I talk about. They're the ones that repeal Roe v. Wade. They're the ones that try to do this anti-trans stuff. They're the ones that try to go in and take over all these local elected official positions. These people are crazy. They facilitated Jan 6 with Trump. I mean, every day they go to work in conference rooms to to manipulate more lies so they can keep control. And they got control back in 2008. I'm telling you, these multinational corporations have got like pretty much a grip on everything, and we're in the midst of not letting them take absolute control. So if we put Trump in, Trump is going to put that power into those types of people's hands. So that's why they want that motherfucker in. Now, Biden and some Democrats might be in on some of it, but for the most part, they know that they won't get the votes if they let, you know, all these rich billionaires just get all the power, and, you know, they know that the revolution will absolutely come if they do that. So you guys might have your heyday for a little bit, but the people will come eat the rich if y'all do that. Your days are numbered there. So they've done enough math. They've thought about this enough. They know that we got to work with the people, and we got to stop with this bullshit, you know, spreading, you know, world police, you know, American exceptionalism. We got to move on from all that. You know, we got lied to. They, you know, stormed into other countries, killed civilians. We killed civilians. But it's different with Putin. He's ordering those civilians to be killed, and he's going into a sovereign country and just trying to take it over because he wants their assets, and he wants their, you know, he wants their wheat production, and he wants their minerals. He wants their lithium. He wants their cobalt. He wants their resources. It's like breadbasket in Ukraine. So he just wants that shit. That's all this is. And he facilitated the 10/7 attack because he was losing his fucking shit over there. Everybody was sending money, sending support to Ukraine. He had to shift the focus elsewhere. So he got Hamas and Hezbollah to, you know, facilitate this wild ass attack on Israel that they knew that they could not respond to, not respond to. And it took all sorts of heat off Ukraine and Russia. And it took a lot of eyeballs off that, a lot of support away. And it caused much division. So Putin knew exactly what he was doing. Like, he knew exactly what he was doing was facilitating that 10/7 attack. Like, no fucking question about it. And, you know, people like Elon Musk and Donald Trump lack experience, and they're detached from fucking reality. And they got fucking mental illnesses up the fucking ass. So we gotta stop letting these fucking people manipulate our daily lives. Like, nationalize Starlink, just take Elon's shit, slap him in the face, shit him the fuck down. And then fucking Trump, just fucking lock him up with the RICO fucking shit. Obviously, he's guilty as fuck. The criminal enterprise spans from Roger Stone and Donald Trump all the way through ADF, the Heritage Foundation, BlackRock, State Street, Vanguard. All of these guys are fucking implicated. Chubb Insurance, get the fuck out of here, okay? Like, get the money out of the super PAC's hands, get the influence and the power out of the super PAC's hands, tax the fucking churches into the dirt who support those super PACs going forward. Get control back of our fucking economy.